Hello everybody, welcome to the January 31st, 2019 edition of the Ephrom Josine Show. I'm your host, Ephrom Josine. 4 seconds this time. I'm getting even faster at that. You couldn't understand it though, but that doesn't matter. Anyway, this is going to be the last day, apparently, according to YouTube, where my videos will auto-share to Twitter, which I don't know if that means that I'll no longer be able to share them to Twitter, or if I'll just have to share them manually, which I already do. Either way, follow my Twitter at EphromJosine1. It will also provide live commentary on the State of the Union address on February 5th, as I'll also be doing that on my Twitter. Anyway, we have to talk once again about just my favorite topic in the world, if you cannot tell, the pro-life movement. The silliest movement of all time. I just want to take a moment. These people compare themselves to abolitionists, yet they don't have a major party specifically formed to combat abortion. They've never elected a presidential candidate that was off the ballot in half the country. There's never been a civil war over abortion. They're very bad abolitionists is what I'm saying. Oh, and there were more states that allow abortion now than there ever were that allowed slavery. Just saying, if you want to make the comparison, you guys are showing yourselves to be pathetic. Anyway, so this all started with a certain familiar on our show, Matt Walsh. You know, that one Daily Wire contributor who has... I'm not going to say his brains are completely made out of expired mayonnaise, but most of them are. Look, if I were to sum up Matt Walsh's brain from the expired mayonnaise to the not expired mayonnaise ratio, I'd say it's about 90% expired mayonnaise. The other 10%, I assume, is not expired mayonnaise. However, quite frankly, I don't know at this point. I'm mainly stalling because it's really annoying to pull up his Twitter for some reason, because my laptop just refused to do so. Which, once again, you can follow my Twitter at EphromJosine1. Okay, I won't do that again. Anyway, Matt started a hashtag that actually trended on Twitter. It started with this tweet. Please stop killing undocumented infants who are trying to cross the border of the birth canal in hopes of a better life. Well, they don't actually hope anything. I mean, do babies hope? I'm actually curious now. Every undocumented immigrant or infant deserves a chance at the American dream. And he then later tweeted, I'm not even joking, the left has a lot of success by manipulating language and adopting different terms. Two can play at that game, so you're admitting you're just being Orwellian. And not doing a good job at it, for that matter. We should start by calling unborn babies undocumented infants. Drop all other terms and just use that. Hashtag undocumented infants, get it going. Michael Nolis, the most annoying individual in all of existence, also tweeted, hashtag undocumented infants sleep 90 through 95% of the day and dream in the womb. Hashtag dreamers. Do fetuses actually dream? I'm actually curious now. That's, honest to God, a very interesting question that I want an answer to, Michael. But you don't have it because you're just too busy virtue signaling. Oh, I forget, that's extremely virtue signaling. Matt even wrote an entire column about this piece, or about this idea, called Police It's just a tweet. It has over 100,000 views, and I'm one of those now, so let's read. The only difference between a baby moments before leaving the womb and a baby outside the womb is documentation. A birth certificate and social security card are issued to a child within a few weeks of birth, but those aren't immediately after then. Nitpicky, I know. This paperwork is necessary to make the child an official citizen of the United States, but they cannot actually confer biological personhood status. Personhood may be recognized by words on a page, but the words cannot make a person. Besides, I've been reliably informed that by people you don't like. That's the other main problem with this movement. Matt Walsh does not support undocumented immigration. He called the migrant caravan an invasion, in fact. So, therefore, he should also be calling birth an invasion. They're invading this country. We need to deport them back into the womb. And this is very stupid for a variety of reasons. But okay, Matt, I'll make you a deal. We'll compromise. A strict immigration policy and a very pro-choice social policy. Would that make you happy? The answer is no. These people are unreasonable. I've been reliably informed that undocumented people are still people and deserve all of the same rights as those of us with documentation. I've been told many times that undocumented people have the right to cross through barriers and over borders in pursuit of life and liberty. Do you believe that? Honest to God, do you even agree with that statement? Planned Parenthood, an organization that you have said covers up predators, even says that the undocumented have the right to life. I totally agree with that sentiment. All people have the right to life, and I certainly would not support summary execution of immigrants on the southern border. Now, you know what? You're right. We should, if they don't have the proper documentation before birth, we should pepper spray them. In fact, that's what we're going to do. We need to make sure all abortions are performed with pepper spray. Would that even work? Honest to God, I'm curious whether or not that would work. Anyway, let's go back to conservative millennial, aka Alice Stuckey. I know. I said I just did her yesterday, and it was on a similar topic. However, it was a toss-up between this and Ann Coulter's latest column, so I spun a wheel, and it picked her. Take it up with the wheel, or go to the alternate universe that scientists say exists, where it landed on Coulter, okay? And the video becomes 18 minutes long. Or longer. The Virginia House of Delegates proposed a bill legalizing abortion through all 9 months. Delegate Carrie Tran, Fairfax, confirmed that abortion would now be available to the mothers even while in natural labor, as long as it was for the reason of mental health. Okay, that does actually kind of cross a line. I'll give you that. If it's like literally in labor, then I feel that could be weird. Although, at the same time, I've said this before, I've read up on late-term abortion. Any parent who do that to their child should not be a parent. I've made that argument time and time, and the pro-life movement has never responded to that. The fact is, if you would have a late-term abortion on your child, you should not be a parent. So I say kill 2 birds with 1 stone. The trick is big stone, small birds. The definition of mental health is obscure in this bill. So that's that, pro-choicers. No more pretending this is about healthcare. Mental health is health too. No more pretending this is about reproductive rights because this one person said it wasn't. No more pretending that this is about removing a non-human clump of cells. First off, no one's ever said that in 20 years. And 2, it is. It unironically is. If it's not made of cells, tell me in detail what it is made out of. No more safe, legal, and rare. That was just something Clinton said to get you guys on his side, and quite a few of you fell for it. No more pretending this is about compassion for the mother or the child. Actually, okay, the child maybe, but the mother I don't see. Honest to God, I still don't get this. This is, and always has been, about ensuring the women have the ability to walk away from parenthood the same way a man can. No, they can't. We went through this yesterday. Men cannot because of child support laws. Unless you want to argue for a repeal of child support laws just to enforce that firm, natural grip. That came out weird. Then kindly shut up. We've always known it. We've just been waiting for you guys to out yourselves. Actually, you're like the only one who's ever been dumb enough to make that point. Thank you so much for coming through. Can I just stress how pretentious and obnoxious you are? And I get I'm pretentious, smug, obnoxious, sarcastic, and all of that. But honest to God, you are the most pretentious conservative I've seen since at least Ann Coulter. As I've stated in a previous piece, abortion is about feminist obsession with equality through homogeny. And it didn't make sense there either. With that being the motive, why stop at the first or second trimester? Heck, why stop at birth? In fact, Virginia Governor Ralph Northam explained clearly that this abortion bill would indeed allow doctors to kill the child after it was born. Actually, the word he used was resuscitated, meaning revive someone from unconsciousness or apparent death. That would mean he'd be bringing them back to life. You idiot! I'm now going to skip this next paragraph because it falls apart when you understand what words mean. Northam specified in the interview that this would typically be in cases where a baby is deformed or isn't viable. This probably isn't true, but even if it were, love that little dismissive, he's probably just lying. We're talking about nothing short of eugenics. It's eugenics to kill something that isn't viable and therefore is going to die within an hour anyway. You're an idiot. Also, Republicans love to do this. Democrats are racist and black people are stupid for voting for them. Point. Should I tell them about the history of eugenics within the Republican Party? I mean, Theodore Roosevelt wrote that it was the government's job to prevent undesirables from breeding. I'm not making that up. And it was majority Republicans who supported Buck v. Bell, which said states could do eugenics. So I now believe the Republican Party is the party of eugenics. And Allie here is just trying to hide that fact because she's a historical revisionist and a propagandist. And actually wants things worse for mentally disabled people, and other people have been victims of eugenics. What I'm saying is, either you all disassociate from Dinesh D'Souza, or I'm going to keep doing this because it's actually very fun. Yet, the real story, according to the outlets like the Washington Post, which I thought they hated, but okay, and CBS, is the conservative backlash. Well, there has been a huge backlash to that. That is part of the story. Not the condoning of the brutal murder of babies under the guise of sympathy. Not that we're seeing human selfishness manifest in the ugliest way possible. Have you considered going into philosophy? You're just that pretentious type. Not that we're experiencing a fundamental shift in the American conscience. That fundamental shift happened about 40 years ago. If you're referring to abortion becoming legal. If you're referring to pro-life movement, that happened roughly about 80 years ago and hasn't gone anywhere. They're still just sort of hanging out in the corner, not doing much because they're all lazy. The intellectuals of townhall.com. Blogging and hoping that eventually abortion will stop existing. If only everyone were panicking half this much about as we out there conservatives are. Abortion, and in this case late-term abortion and infanticide, everything I don't like is infanticide, the pro-lifers term for arguing on the internet, is the ultimate degradation of our nation's collective soul. Yeah, you're a philosopher. Or a poet. Or some other pretentious type we all make fun of. You're not an intellectual political commentator, Allie. You're a pretentious hack who just turned 13 and is currently going through that weird goth phase where everything is awful. I hate this person, if you cannot tell. Not as a person, mind you. I'm sure they're a fine person, but their work is atrocious. The left talks a big game when it comes to showing empathy for the marginalized and weak, yet few of them shed a single tear for the slaughter of the unborn. I also don't care when a cow dies very much, or a pig for that matter. Or most other forms of life, quite frankly. The most vulnerable and marginalized among us. Yes, there are slaughterhouses for fetuses. Most people don't know that. Heck, we even have fetus swatters that you can buy on the market right now. I know what she meant, but my point is, this is really, really stupid. Pro-lifers have long been told we're making a mountain out of a molehill. That if we don't want abortion, we shouldn't have one, they say. Yeah. And it turns out that states with Republican-led houses and senates and governors have quite a few more abortions than anywhere else. No, this isn't infanticide, because that's not what infanticide means. No, this isn't eugenics, because that's not what eugenics means. It's a woman's body, her choice. It's about healthcare. It's about freedom. It's not even a person in there. It's about compassion for unfit mothers and unwanted children, they say. But now the facade is gone, because you misunderstood some random guy in Virginia. The charade is over. It's probably a bit of a relief for pro-choicers to simply admit they're okay with murdering a defenseless human being. You know, I just want Allie to look up meat ads sometime. And then imagine that was a child instead. And you'll see how seriously I take this argument. I cannot stress it enough. If this was a vegan writing this, they'd be laughed at and considered obnoxious, despite the fact that be at their own corner of the internet you'd have to go out of your way to visit. But when a pro-lifer writes this is a legitimate point, and they have an entire caucus. Side note, this is an honest-to-God side note, pro-lifers are their own worst enemy. Because abortion is never going to be made illegal. Because then there'll be no money in fighting it. Groups like Live Action are keeping abortion legal simply through putting money on the issue. Remove all your pro-life groups, and I guarantee you there'd be much more restrictions. But you'll never do that. Because it's not actually about the issue. It's about your own conscience. It's about your own publicity. It's about your ability to virtue signal. You are one of the most obnoxious movements I've ever come across. Thank you, New York and Virginia, for proving us right again. We're not extremists. You are. I'm just gonna fall down on my desk now. And I didn't even get a chance to talk about climate change. I'm Ephrom, and good night.